I thought we finished cleaning the podcast pantry.
We'll be finished in 2026 if we're lucky.
What's this one?
She can be a mean director because she's neurodivergent and a minor.
That's not it.
What about this one?
Every catacomb starts with A, Bo.
No, maybe it's in here.
This is gonna take a while.
Nope, here it is.
Fight fighters with Charley. Were we recording when we fought Charley?
Of course we were. This is a different thing, though. Open it. What?
Charley's not in here.
What do you mean they're not in there?
It's just us in there. Did we kill Charley?
Let me call them.
Hoy hoy.
Hey, where's your audio from the Fight Fighters episode?
Why, it can be found on pipedreampodcasts.com or wherever you get your podcast.
No, our Fight Fighters episode.
Oh, did I guest on that one?
Yeah, do you have the audio?
Probably lost it when I moved. Or when I threw my computer into the river, which happened right before I moved.
Can you at least check?
I'm in the ocean. Where do I check?
You moved to the ocean?
Yeah, a year and a half ago, AJ. Keep up.
Wait, hold on.
So, did you find the One Piece then? Get it? Whatever.
Never mind, found it.
Oh, we also recorded that time we all fought.
Oh, wait, I remember that one. You guys fight like dairy farmers.
Fuck you!
We get it, you're a pirate. Start the episode.
If you weren't in the middle of the ocean, I challenge you to a duel.
AJ, do you want to fight?
Nah, I mean, I didn't really have any plans to. I'm really underdeveloped on my fighting. Like, I'd need like a week to train. I'd need like another week to do some really big meditation stuff. I need to train again for another week. So like, nah.
Here's the thing, AJ. We can just do it this afternoon. You know, we've got like an hour. We're both probably on like the same level of skill, so it'll be a fair fight at least. It might not be a very exciting one, but either way, we should have a referee.
Well, you literally just said it won't be an exciting fight. And plus, you know, who do we get to referee on such short notice?
I don't know, Charlie, are you... Okay.
Yeah, I'll do it.
All right, Charlie's gonna be our ref, and let's fight.
Yeah. You didn't even kill my father. How am I supposed to fight you?
Not yet.
Let's do this. Count me in, Charlie.
28, 29, 30, 31.
Roll intro. Overdrive.
Welcome to Into the Falls, a Gravity Falls podcast. I'm Mary, and I know lots of things.
I'm AJ, and I know nothing.
This is a podcast where I guide AJ through the wonderful weirdness of Gravity Falls, my favorite show that he has never seen.
If you're a new arrival like me, or looking to relive some crazy summer memories, come with us, and let's dive into the falls.
I have never read a manga or seen JoJo's Bizarre Adventure or played Street Fighter.
Okay, so what happens is there's a gentleman named M. Bison.
I've heard of him.
And he's a fascist dictator who's wronged most people in the world. And he decides that he's going to start an international fighting tournament with him as the end boss. So whoever beats all the other tournaments gets to just beat the crap out of him. Now, because he's wronged everyone in the world and killed so many dads, everyone in every country is like, ooh, I want to punch Bison in the face. Of course, here in this episode of Gravity Falls, he's known as Dr. Karate.
No, Charlie, you've got it all wrong. See, what the game is about is there's a street and there's fighting.
No, that's what Final Fight is about. Final Fight is about street fighting, and Street Fighter is about the fighting tournament to end them all.
Don't you mean Mortal Kombat?
Mortal Kombat is about Street Fighter.
I never seek this one out to rewatch because for several years it was my least favorite. Not because it's bad, just because when it first aired, Disney Channel reran it so much. I would turn it on and be like, oh, Gravity Falls is on. Oh, it's this one again.
This is the first episode of Gravity Falls I have seen. I started watching the show because I found the clip of, well, you know, he posts an annoying amount of status updates and he's dating the girl I like. And then he killed your father. Sure. I bought the show on Amazon Prime because that clip made me laugh. I binge watched this show on a streaming platform in 2012. I was ahead of the curve.
I just watched it on cable.
I don't know what that is anymore. It sounds familiar.
It's this magic cable that brings TV into your house, and also you can watch lots of other stuff.
I can't remember what this joke is from, but someone was like, tell me what the future's like. And someone said, instead of television being distributed by invisible radio waves, it will instead go through a series of cables. The reason I can't remember what the quote I just said is from is because I always confuse it with that quote from Fairly Odd Parents.
In the future, there will be 500 TV channels. Far out! But nothing to watch.
And I'm like, well, I know it's not from Fairly Odd Parents, so that narrows it down.
So Seuss knows how to eat ghosts. We're getting some Seuss lore in this episode. It's not about him, but like we're getting some shading.
You know, that's my favorite line in this episode, and maybe in anything ever, that he believes that Pac-Man is a tutorial on how to eat ghosts. My house ever gets haunted. This game taught me how to eat ghosts.
No, he said it in past tense, like his house was haunted at some point.
It's Gravity Falls. I believe his house was haunted one time.
Yeah. But I would also believe that Seuss just mistook something completely innocuous for a haunting.
A breeze blew a door open and he was like, oh my gosh. Hey, any ghosts in here, dude?
That's pretty good. Seuss, you're coming along with your Gravity Falls voices, AJ. How long you been watching this show?
I don't know, about half a season now.
Why you been watching it?
I don't know. I'm just doing like a podcast with a friend. It's no big deal.
There's an invisible force that's compelling him to do it.
Yo, no way. I am also doing a podcast with a friend about this show. It's called Mystery Shack Lookback. You can find it wherever you get your podcasts. I don't know you. Or on pipedreampodcasts.com.
Hey,
we should have you guys on sometime.
Self-promoing.
No promoing? What is the point of getting a guest on a podcast?
Friendship.
Hey, have you guys ever been challenged to a fight? I don't know if this is really a thing, like meet me at this time and we're going to fight each other. I've never known anyone who that's happened to.
It's very much just something that would happen in like 80s and 90s pop culture. So of course it has to happen to Dipper.
I wonder if it's like something that actually happened in real life pre-Stranger Danger when children were trusted to get themselves home from school, and if they were late, it wasn't a problem.
There's this old movie called M. There's like a scene where like they're trying to catch this guy who's killing children, and they're like making an announcement in the newspaper, like tell your kids not to go home with strangers, and like if a stranger offers them candy, it could be dangerous. And I'm like, yeah, I learned this when I was 6.
Yeah,
why didn't you know
Dipper,
this?
In this show, Dipper and Mabel are just basically allowed to constantly bring themselves around this town that they've only known for less than a month without adult supervision.
Well, luckily they have allies. I mean, they have Seuss around some of the time.
The A is for ally, dude.
A is for amiable.
A is for awesome.
It's because Stan can't be a part of it. He can't like see that there's supernatural stuff going on. So they just get him out of the way in every episode.
It became trouble in the character design. This is a script-driven show, and in the first episode, there was just an innocuous little stage direction. Dipper hides the journal so Stan can't see it. This was driving the boarders crazy because it's a fairly large book. So how is that even possible? That's
why
the reason for the vest. Yeah.
Oh, I thought he would just already had it, and they're like, "Oh, we might as well just hide it there." No, that's the
so he doesn't have the vest in the unaired pilot because he didn't need to hide a book, and that was created literally just to solve the problem of Stan can't see Journal 3. So, AJ, you said there were 3 great jokes in this episode when I referenced one. What were your other favorites?
Nort, the game based on the movie based on the game.
As well as my favorite part about that is Seuss saying he wants to go inside the game, but rather than doing it in a Tron way, just opens up the cabinet with a screwdriver and sits in there.
He had a dream and he took action.
Yep.
And then for the rest of the episode, he has parts of the arcade cabinet on him.
I love that we don't see how he got out. He's just like, it's not just a game
clear
anymore.
He just stood up and broke the machine.
Yeah.
I would have loved to see that though.
We see him driving up, and he's got the
couldn't get it
monitor
all off.
plate on him, and we're just like, okay, so that's how he got out.
Seuss is the best. He is the absolute best. I'm so glad that he brought them all to this location that kicked off the episode because it's so important to him.
And I mean, why wouldn't you bring kids to an arcade? The arcade is literally the best place ever.
Have either of you been to an arcade? Because they're certainly not as popular post,
Oh, a ton.
There's a resort that we would always go to since I was a kid. It used to have an arcade. It was a very small one, but I loved going there. I did the crane machine all the time. I won the crane machine a couple of times, and that's like an office space now or something.
I've got a few places around here called Pinballs. It's really, really dope. It's like a straight up, really just whole hog all the way in arcade. It's got a whole bunch of games, classic, some modern, and tons of pinball machines. I
There's
love
also
that
Chuck E.
place.
Cheese.
Pinball machines are pretty heavy. I don't know if tons is that many pinball machines. A ton of things is always used for hyperbole. It's not that many things.
Well, it depends on the thing. If there's like a ton of lip balms, that's a lot.
I love Robbie as just full antagonist now. He was mistrusting of Dipper in The Inconveniencing, and he was
Now they've
an
got a
obstacle in Time
rivalry.
Traveler's Pig, but now he's full antagonist. He's just a jerk.
And we're really driving home how pathetic he is, because like in the last one, he kind of gets publicly humiliated, and it's just kind of like, yeah, he's kind of a jerk. He deserves it. Now he's trying to fist fight a 12-year-old because the 12-year-old has a crush on his girlfriend.
He's constantly emasculated by a prepubescent child.
I mean, not to mention the mascara in that Pete Wenstig earlier in the episode. It's eye paint
for men.
If you're gonna put on mascara, dude, just lean into it. Don't try to make it something that it's not.
Yeah.
It's all about the eyeliner, which is called guyliner.
I want to make sure that everybody thinks the guys are beautiful.
That always bugs me so much, like when people call it guy liner or man bun. I'm like, okay, you're wearing eyeliner and your hair is in a bun.
There's a lot of gender jokes in this one, and it feels
a lot
contradictory to the themes. Versus the browser game based on this, Rumble's Revenge, has Dipper say the line, "Mabel, you fight like a girl, and it's awesome!" This is the B-plottiest of B-plots, Stan and Mabel and the fear of heights. It's like, let's give the other characters something to do. It almost feels like a parody of the concept of B-plots.
I don't think Mabel Mabel knows that there's something supernatural going on because she meets Rumble McSkirmish, but she's totally unfazed by it, and she's purely focused on helping Stan with his fear of heights.
Well, she does write a list of words for him to read.
Yeah, but she just doesn't care what happens with it. Other than that,
no.
Like she's unfazed
And
except for being like, wow, he has a crazy voice.
Yeah, she's seen so much other stuff in the course of the series already, and generally she's just like a roll with it kind of girl, so it's like, yeah, this is on par with her. She's got other priorities that need to be taken care of. Stan needs to have his fear of heights cured.
Because he's acting cray-cray.
Why
is that racist? I don't know.
Yeah, who came up with that?
Okay, so I do know the answer to this. So what it really is it's just a parody of Disney Channel in general, because Alex Hirsch does not like Disney Channel and found it silly that he was working at their offices. And so whenever people would ask where his office was, he would give context to the location by making up names of TV shows. And he claimed that Why You Actin' So Cray Cray is a talk show that Raven Simone hosts that's on the Disney Channel to see if anyone believed him.
Let's all name as many Disney Channel sitcoms from the 2010s as we can. We've got Shake It Up, Stuck in the Middle, I Didn't Do
Sunny
It,
with a Chance,
Best Friends Whenever.
Dog with a blog!
Dog with a blog. So little of that show hinged on the dog having a blog.
Bunked.
Okay, so
Jesse,
I'm
which
really
was a terrible
old,
show.
so I barely know what any of these words you're saying mean, and you
Austin
could just
and
be
Ally.
messing with. You could just be messing with
The
me
Sweet
like
Life on Deck,
Alex
does that
Hirsch messed
count?
with people.
Sweet Life on Deck came out in 2008, so it ended in
It
2011.
ended in 2012, so...
The host of Why You Actin' So Cray Cray is named Sassika. She is voiced by Kimberly Brooks, Jasper from Steven Universe.
Also, Allura from Voltron Legendary Defender.
That's correct. And my favorite guest voice in this episode, because it makes no sense, the rich young adult or teenager who receives the car that gets destroyed by Rumble.
I love that reference, by the way.
Great reference to Street Fighter 2 / Final Fight. But the kid is voiced by Junie from Spy Kids for some reason.
I never knew that.
Yeah, so I don't know why he's in this episode. My best guess is that he's also in Wizards of Waverly Place, but it is a little weird that he's in Gravity Falls for all of 2 lines.
Was he on Wizards of Waverly Place?
Yes.
I don't remember that.
I did not know that.
Well, I've never seen it, so I can't tell you, but
I thought he was on Spy Kids and then...
Yeah, he was in Spy Kids and then...
nothing after that.
He was in the Halloween remake.
Oh, wait, he was also in the Polar Express.
What?
So what I will say, though, is that the video game references in this show are way better than in Spy Kids 3D Game Over or whatever
I
it's
haven't
called.
seen that movie since I was like 6, so I don't know.
Same here. I should rewatch it. I love Robert Rodriguez.
One of my favorite things about this episode at the time is that, Alex Hirsch was born, I believe, in 1985, so grew up in the 90s, so like Nintendo was a staple of his household. And he, at the time, was considered too young to have a TV show. So this is like the first of the Nintendo generation to get a TV show. And video game references in TV shows prior to this were really like, how do you do, fellow kids?
Yeah, I definitely.
Because there are some very specific references in this one, I'm sure, AJ, you noticed. And prior to 2012, there weren't, outside of Scott Pilgrim.
You ain't no competition for Joshy!
It's spherical! Spherical!
So it is a fun generational shift that I was happy to be present for. Now I'm a little exhausted by video game references, which is funny that happened in the course of 10 years.
They're happening a lot.
What was the straw that broke the camel's back? Ready Player One?
Ready Player One! Why do you even have to ask?
Now I just want to watch The Iron Giant again. So we never see, Robbie's in a band. We've established we never see his bandmates.
Robbie V and the Tombstones.
And the Tombstones.
Who are the
Tombstones?
Song. It's Thompson. He's tricked Thompson into doing it.
Probably. It sounds enough like
What do you think Thompson plays? Drums?
Probably.
Yeah.
He plays a triangle.
Is Wendy in the Tombstones? That's the big question.
No.
I hope not.
AJ, so this episode, Wendy said she was going camping with her dad. We see her come back. Did you catch who her dad was?
Yeah. Big burly dude, red beard,
Manly Dan Corduroy, which
it's
makes
Manly
her full
Dan!
name.
It's the lumberjack.
I wasn't sure if I
makes
should
her full
ask if
name
that was
Wendy
Manly Dan, 'cause
Corduroy.
I felt like I didn't remember what he looked like, so I thought that was a stretch. But okay, it's Manly
it's
Dan.
him.
Similarly, in Legend of the Gobblewonker, we see Manly Dan in a boat with his sons. And then in Double
Dipper, we see the picture of her brothers.
And they're the same character designs as
and
Manly Dan's sons.
Dipper versus Manliness, we very briefly see them at the diner together.
So what happened was they kept trying to write a Wendy-focused episode, and it never made it into production. So there are a lot of drafts.
Don't spoil the episode that didn't exist.
I will say, up until this point, there were a lot of attempts to make a Wendy episode that never made it into production. And whether there will be any after this, good luck, AJ. So it reached a point at the Comic-Con panel. They said, hey, is it a secret of the show that Wendy is the lumberjack's daughter? And he said, no, it's not a secret. It was meant to be openly stated, and we just forgot that we deleted episodes that openly stated it.
It's just there. Yeah, so we got some Wendy lore, too. We already knew about her brothers. We knew about her embarrassing growth spurt. Now we know her dad is Manly Dan. We know that Seuss has a cousin, Reggie. We know that Stan...
And we know that Manly
Reggie
Dan can't
may
read a
or
map.
may not be dead, because Seuss and Reggie were just talking about this.
We know that ghosts exist. Maybe Cousin Reggie is the
definitely.
one ghost that Seuss didn't eat. He just lets him live at the house. Because it's Reggie. He knows Reggie.
Reggie was the ghost that haunted Seuss in the first place.
And then he's like, wait,
his...
I know you.
Oh my gosh, dude.
I don't even need to eat ghosts.
I love all of the little video game references, even though some of them don't make sense. Like, why would a Street Fighter type character be throwing barrels like Donkey Kong?
He's just all the video games.
Literally, I was watching the episode and my first thought that came to mind was barrels!
Oh, I hate the barrels. They're fucking traitors.
My thing about this, what I was thinking is like referencing Mario on top of, because you're already making Street Fighter references, is like saying, well, since we've already referenced Back to the Future, which is a movie, we might as well also make a Citizen Kane reference. Like, it still is this otherness of video games as a culture, even though the references are more accurate than they have been previously in culture. I love the bit in this episode where, to simulate cutscenes, Dipper letterboxes.
Oh my god!
Yeah, he just gets two black
that.
planks of wood from somewhere and just does it.
And in the commentary, Alex describes how hard it was to describe that joke using words. No one got it until someone boarded it.
Yeah, that's the power of visual media.
Speaking of visual media, this is a mixed media episode. It features guest animation by Paul Robertson, the pixel artist best known for his work on Scott Pilgrim vs. the World.
I love the player select screen in the credits.
It's me, Mabel.
Mabel. That is so what she would do, because she would just get so much more into like these bright, colorful like platformers. She would not be about fighting games.
Did you know that Mabel is partially designed after Mario?
Yeah. AJ, do you want to guess how?
That makes a lot of sense.
Do you want to guess how the character design of Mario influenced the character design of Mabel?
You'll have to help me out.
The two little flips of hair on the back of her head are based on Mario's hat hair from when he loses his hat in Mario 64.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Similarly, when they decided that Dipper's design was going to be trucker hat and vest, they had to be very careful with the coloring that they didn't just make him Ash Ketchum.
The taco that he gives to Rumble McSkirmish, do you guys think that looks like a wallet? Because like, it's too square to be a taco.
It's a weird looking taco.
It's a weird looking taco.
By the way, the moment Taco Bell got rid of the waffle taco, that was
my goodness, you have just inspired me to make wallets that look like tacos, so thank you for that.
They probably already exist. You could make wallets that look specifically like a taco from Gravity Falls.
I just grabbed my wallet.
I like that how he eats things is by picking it up off the floor, opening his inventory, and selecting eat.
This episode of Into the Falls is brought to you by the Streamer Addiction Recovery Service.
Hey, it's Mary. We make a lot of jokes here about how it takes us so long to release episodes, but I think we can also lose sight of the fact that a lot can happen in a couple of years, and it's not always positive or funny. Back when we recorded Fight Fighters with Charley, they were so full of life, so energetic, they just brightened every room. We didn't even know when they started using Twitch.
Do you watch too many streamers? You might not think you do, but when you wake up with Fortnite gameplay and go to bed to power wash satisfying broadcasts, you might have a problem.
The change was so slow we didn't notice it at first. For a while they seemed fine, but then they were getting disoriented.
I don't even understand where I need to be. I need to be... Huh? I don't even... Is that a pathway? From what? To what? What?
They got on drugs, and not the fun kind.
Not only could I not move for 2 hours afterwards, but since then I have gotten dizzy on escalators, which has never happened before, so it did like long-term damage to my vestibular system.
When I confronted them to ask where they were getting that stuff, they didn't even try to hide it.
But the woman who does bake the drug cookies...
It all really came to a head at their intervention when a family member had had enough and tried to take the VTuber avatar away by force.
Leave me alone!
But thanks to SARS, our friend Charley is getting the help they need.
This person has a problem, and acknowledging such a problem is the first step of our 6-step program. At the end, you will come out a new and transformed person. If you know someone affected, help is here. Call the toll-free number in the description right now. Or don't, because it's a fake ad. SARS, the Streamer Addiction Recovery Service. Subscribe to healing.
So the catalyst for this, the reason Robbie wants to fight Dipper is not just because he has a crush on Wendy. This kind of the straw that breaks the camel's back is Dipper breaks his phone by like throwing it and having it land on a patch of grass that somehow just shatters it. It's a really fragile phone.
Phones don't do that. Either that is really hard grass or that is a really shitty phone.
Like
The
that
mysterious
phone
hard grass
exploded.
in Gravity Falls.
The street has really dangerous litter. Maybe some of the litter just like was in the grass and the grass was covering it up so we didn't see it. Maybe the phone landed on a sword or something.
I will scare him with this.
I punched an oil drum.
That is a reference to Streets of Rage and Final Fight, which are beat 'em ups. Final Fight takes place in the Street Fighter universe, so that's why that is on top of a Street Fighter reference.
And
So,
I mean, they fight in a street, so it makes sense.
So Stan says he was going to call the boys over to watch the fight. Who are the boys?
The people from the lodge that don't like or trust him mentioned
So
in
they'll
Gobblewonker.
make they'll bet on fights with him. They just won't fish with him.
No, they most certainly will not. They do
He's just
not
gonna call
like
them
or
in.
trust him.
He's just gonna
He
try.
intended to invite them. They would not have come.
He's just gonna go into town, find 2 random dudes on the sidewalk, put blindfolds on them, and then lead them back to the mystery shack.
Stan has previously made attempts to make friends that have failed, and he does not view them as defeats. He's like, oh, these are my friends now, even though they said they don't like or trust me.
He's more like Mabel than I think he realizes. Because Mabel's not giving up. She has not given up on Pacifica. You know, she's not Pacifica's biggest fan, but she hasn't like completely written her off and she wants to be friends with everybody. I think Stan
Once a week shows up at the lodge and everyone's like, oh, jeez.
Yeah, he's a lonely old man. The text when it says finish him, the colors are the lesbian pride flag. I don't think that flag existed when the episode aired. That flag is pretty recent.
In the browser game based on this episode, the health bar has the non-binary flag behind it.
I was watching you and Ella stream the game and like the ranking letters, I'm like, they look like pride flags. Like not any specific pride flag, but just the way the stripes and the color scheme are
S-rank
like
pride!
gamer pride. How did Mabel get Stan up that ladder with a blindfold without arousing suspicion? I know when he took it off, he's like, yeah, that's pretty much what I expected. But like how he just went.
Here's what I think happened.
Stan's depth perception is so bad that he cannot tell changes in escalation without visual cues.
Or Mabel
not
was
depth
able
perception,
to
I mean
scare him
his-
into a spit take earlier
Hey, Uncle Dad!
from his soda.
I mean his
so
vestibular system.
I would think it's not really all that unfeasible for him to just go, hey, Grunkle Stan! And then he just jumps all the way up to the top of the water tower in fear.
Oh, that's true.
It's a
I'm
cartoon.
happy
It can happen.
that a Gravity Falls character owns 10 guns. That a Disney Channel character owns 10 guns.
That's Alex's revenge.
He has admitted that he created the character of Stan because he didn't want Disney Channel to accept the pitch.
So just make him a criminal.
So he's like, yeah, he wears, a fez, so he's kind of like a Shriner. He usually walks around in his boxers. You know, he's just a gross old man with no friends who's in a cult.
He tries to get kids involved in counterfeiting.
Yeah,
he literally puts blindfolds on said kids and puts them in his car.
It just makes made him a great character. He's just so fun.
Yeah, no,
I love
it was
him.
all assembled out of please don't make me work for Disney. And that is what makes Stan a great character, honestly. Well, what does this Stan character wear? Well, not pants, but definitely a Shriner vest.
In that arcade, what video game do you think Stan would be best at?
So
He's pretty good at insert token.
That's
I have a
true.
relatively Stan-like father who has kicked my ass at Soul Calibur because unless you know the combos, whoever mashes the most buttons wins. I told that story to my cousin and he was like, yes, the same happened to me and my mom. I can't take it. I can't beat her at Soul Calibur.
So Mabel knitted a sweater with a Scout's Honor symbol on the front and crossed fingers on the back. I like to think that she went to the extra effort. I know it's just for a visual gag, but I think she went to the extra effort of knitting both of those designs just so she could wear
What
it
when
she makes promises that she does not intend to keep.
She's that extra.
What I love is that was not in the script. The border just decided to add that.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's
That's
amazing
canon
what
now.
storyboarders can add to a show. By the way, she puts that on over her 4-leaf clover sweater. Does she not
puts it
get
on
hot?
over another sweater.
In June!
Mabel, girl, you have such long
Does she
hair. You're
not
not
get
even
hot?
putting it up. I have the same hair as Mabel. Definitely had it when I was in high school when this show was airing. Like, it's very long and very thick, and you are not having a good time if you're wearing 2 sweaters with it.
Yesterday, as we said, Ella and I streamed Rumble's Revenge, and we knew that I would be reading for Dipper and that she would be reading for Mabel. So we were like, I suggested like, let's do the cosplays. She was like, I don't know if I could wear a sweater. So that was indoors in a controlled environment at nighttime that Ella
I
was
wasn't
like,
sure. I
sweater?
wasn't sure I could wear the sweater the whole time we were recording not Time Travelers, Irrational Treasure.
And
like
you
I
did
can't.
it. And I'm so proud of you.
I was somehow okay with it. Like the sound dampening blanket, I can't use that anymore because it just gets too hot. Maybe in the winter it'll be better. I just had to nix it.
Now that the sound is not damp, we have a very dry podcast.
It's very dry.
We've learned that Mabel is a cryptid. Either that or Stan just keeps his cabin dead ass cold.
I mean,
or the people in California who write this show have no idea what Oregon's like and are like, probably freezing cold, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. Wendy wears flannel. Dipper wears a down vest. Stan wears a suit. Seuss is the only person dressed for the weather. Cargo shorts, a t-shirt, and a baseball cap with the brim in front.
There are also people who are just
This
always
is why
cold or
I keep
always
saying
warm.
that Seuss is smarter than he lets on.
Yeah, Seuss is the only person who is comfortable in the weather. The only person who has looked at the weather report and picked out an outfit accordingly. Everyone else in Gravity Falls is dying of hypothermia.
They're just trying to mitigate it. There are 2 shots in this episode where Mabel just kind of slides into frame. The first is when Stan sees the skydiving TV show and freaks out, and she like stands over him, and she just kind of like, and then it's when he's taking a nap on the recliner, and she just kind of like, Happy Great Uncle's Day!
So
or no, it was
hate
Happy Great Uncle's Day. She yelled twice. Happy Great Uncle's Day was when she gave him the high heels.
Yes,
Happy Great Uncle's Day, by the way, guys.
I also
Happy Great
love
Uncle's Day.
that in Mabel's mind, the only reason someone would not want to put on high heels is if they're afraid of heights.
They're too high. Why did Stan put the glue way up there if he doesn't have a ladder? Maybe Seuss did it.
Seuss tossed it up there. I do not like the title, Why You Actin' So Cray Cray. I love the title, World's Most Terrifying Skydiving. Who would watch a show titled that?
That's choice.
It's like Spike TV and A&E. There's like 1,000 Ways to Die.
Oh my God.
shows.
My dad and my brother and I used to watch that show a lot.
The one that I always remember is one where a woman who got very cheap breast implants got on a flight, and the altitude made the implants expand until her chest exploded and she died.
Oh my God, I remember that.
I hate when that happens.
It happens to me all the time. That's why I have to drive everywhere.
Because your boobs keep exploding.
I never even got implants. It just happens.
This is completely unrelated, but that reminds me of how Gimli's stunt double in Lord of the Rings got a small cut on his forehead during a fight scene, but because of all the prosthetic makeup, no one really noticed, so it just kept bleeding, and prosthetic makeup is made of latex, the same material as a balloon, so eventually, like a water balloon that you've held over the sink for too long, the cut scene where he talks about my sensei had warned me not to be driven astray is definitely based on anime dubs where they're more focused on matching the lip flaps than acting.
Oh yeah, there's literally a close-up moment of some anime lip flapping in this episode.
I never got that. I just thought it was bad acting, but I have actually tried to like read the script, match the lip flaps, and hit the emotion, and you do wind up starting to sound like that because you're so focused on the rhythm of it. And it takes really, really, really talented people to be able to do all 3 things and sound naturalistic.
We do not give anime voice actors enough credit, and that's...
We do not. So if they sound weird or stilted, that's normal because they have to match the exact tempo of another voice actor in another language. If they sound naturalistic, that is an insane talent.
I even read once that usually the animation is created before the voices are put to tape with anime, so the animators are just doing whatever the hell they want, and then even the Japanese voice actors are just trying to match that best they can.
That has to be impossible.
It's interesting that Rumble is from America and yet has the Japanese character for fart on his back and talks about having a sensei. I think that's because Ken, who is American, is a palette swap of Ryu is the proper pronunciation, who is Japanese, and in the early games, since they have the same move sets, they just reuse the voice clips. So instead of saying uppercut, Ken, who is American, is saying Shoryuken!
I just remembered like my 3rd favorite gag. Oh, you couldn't! Wait, I gotta get it right.
All you can eat, yeah.
You can eat!
I love the reappearance of Free Pizza Guy. I don't understand how they were cooking a pizza on a barbecue grill.
Well, he's not always looking for pizza. Time Traveler's Pig,
I think
he was just trying
pizza in this one, though.
Oh, I didn't see it. But like Time Traveler's Pig, he was just trying to play some skee ball and he got turned away from that because Dipper was having a depression nap on it.
So it's not that he's always denied free pizza, it's that he's just always disappointed by things. Because also, he gets delivered a package in Headhunters and then gets sad when they just don't give it to her. And Ella and I discussed, like, did he think someone was shipping him pizza? That's probably moldy.
So
would Gravity Falls have any meal delivery services, or are they too backwoods for that?
Well, not at the time this was airing. It's a small town. You can pretty much just walk anywhere.
Does Robbie have a smartphone?
I think so.
So is that the first smartphone in Gravity Falls? Because Wendy had a flip phone in an earlier episode.
Zeus has a flip phone.
It very well might be the first smartphone.
So the iPhone came out in 2009.
I think
it was 2007.
The iPhone,
I'm fulfilling the role of the corrector
became popular
here.
in 2009 and was very expensive, and there weren't cheaper alternatives as far as smartphones go. And it's weird because Gravity Falls feels recent for me because I was like 19 or 20 when I first watched it, and I'm 28 now. And it's like, yeah, I was a young adult then, I'm a young adult now. But like to remember that this was made in a world where smartphones were new and uncommon, and now this is the world we live in now.
It's
I'm
so
like,
weird.
oh, this was actually 10 years ago.
And it didn't take that long to make the shift. This was right before it happened. It's so weird to go back and look at it. You'll just see like everyone has a flip phone. It's like I've been rewatching Glee lately, and in my mind, like that show
Why
ended
would you
in
do that to yourself?
Because the first 3 seasons aren't that bad, Charlie. I'm not going to watch past season 3. Season 4 is terrible. But they all have flip phones. They're talking about MySpace and iPod shuffles. And I'm like, what was this? Is this what high school looked like in 2009?
I'm really
like,
glad there are so few references to social media and internet culture in Gravity Falls.
Well, at the time, like 12-year-olds wouldn't really be a part of that. You would use the internet for Club Penguin and like, that's it.
I disagree. 2005, I was 12 and I was chronically online.
Yeah, but there wasn't a whole lot of
social
social media. I mean, there was MySpace.
Yeah, back in my day, we were on Disney.com.
Yeah,
With your parents' permission, I'm assuming.
I did make my first Facebook account when I was 12, so I don't know, maybe. So your wife is from Moscow. Does that mean when you go to visit her, you go to the airport and you say,
"Take me to the Soviet Union"?
Okay, wait. I understand the reference in this episode, and I didn't know it was a reference, and I would love to explain it to you guys.
It's a reference to something other than just the Soviet Union doesn't exist anymore?
So Street Fighter came out a couple of months before the Soviet Union disbanded. So, of course, Zangief, or Zangief as he's mispronounced in Wreck-It Ralph, Zangief lived in the USSR. That was where his stage was. Street Fighter was re-released a lot. They would do expansions to the game and then replace the arcade cabinets with the expansion.
Yeah, there's Turbo, there's Hyper, there's Super, Force, Ultra, Mega, holy crap.
Prefix.
Am I missing something?
Prefix combo.
The new challengers. Yeah, so Street Fighter 2 got re-released a lot, and they never changed the name USSR.
Oh, that's weird.
Even though by the last re-release of Street Fighter 2, every single asset in the game was brand new. The font that USSR was written in was new. There were not that many lines of code in common with the original Street Fighter 2 release, and still it said USSR. And so apparently it's not just a joke about the Soviet Union disbanding. It is a Street Fighter joke that's really specific.
I like to think that the entire game is just stuck in a point in time.
No. I like to think of it this way.
Before the USSR was disbanded, so it's
I like to think of it this way. The USSR disbanded except for Zangief's house. Zangief's house.
He technically still lives in the USSR because nobody.
And he's the only person in the world who lives in the USSR.
You don't know how lucky you are,
If he steps outside and crosses the street, he is in Russia.
Does he need a passport to leave his house?
He needs a passport to leave his house, and that's why he's so muscular. He has nothing else to do.
Oh yeah, because he can't leave his house to get a passport either.
Nope. So that's why he can crush man's head like Sparrow's egg in his thighs.
I will squash you like bug. That's Team Fortress 2.
Same thing. Bunch of stereotypes killing each other.
I love how proud Seuss looks at the end when Dipper decides to fight. He's like, yeah, dude. He's just so proud of it. It's like he's a big brother.
Fight like a man it is.
He's like a mentor.
I
It's
love
cute.
how Dipper was taught that being manly doesn't mean being aggro all the time in Dipper versus Manliness. And then this episode, he's like, yeah, but that was like 2 weeks ago. I can have different morals now. It's fine.
Well, it's also like it's not his fault that this guy is threatening to like beat him up. It's not.
Yeah,
It's
but he
not a
also
matter
just
of.
like doesn't have to indulge Robbie's temper tantrum.
That's true, but they are both children.
Yeah, short attention spans and all that.
He just forgot the lesson he learned.
He was just reading the book right after, like, that evening, and he's just like, did I learn something today?
Probably
and he
not.
just shrugs and goes back to the book.
No, it's like when you're reading and your eyes scan over the words and then you realize after a few minutes that you haven't retained any information.
Oh my gosh. You and I are intrepid souls, Mary. You just described my entire experience in school. But it's like the end of Irrational Treasure. Well, I didn't learn anything.
He refuses to learn. Every time someone tries to make it a teaching moment or give him a moral, he's just like, no thanks.
Well, then maybe in some ways he is like Grunkle Stan.
They both refuse to grow as people.
Standards and practices, they were all like, ugh, this guy again?
No, yeah, S&P definitely, absolutely hated them. Alex was just like, no, I will continue fighting.
I love that he just didn't care. I relate to Dipper in this episode, really, because I too wear the same shorts every day. You don't need that many pairs of shorts. They're just denim. I love that Wendy calls Robbie and Dipper her two boys. Not in a romantic sense, thank God, but she's like, this is my boy, I will protect him. He's a little weird.
This is my boy, he will protect me.
This is my
that's the
emotional
dynamic.
support child.
This is my emotional support boy.
Dipper is like a pet to her. Like, who's that? Oh, that's this boy I found.
Do we want to comment about Robbie calling for Wendy like a pet?
Wendy, come here, girl.
Come on, how
Come here, girl.
I love that he thought to go to her place of work and do that. Like, it just wouldn't be a problem.
Yeah, he didn't even go to her house.
I mean, maybe he did before he went there. Like, she wasn't at home, so he's like, oh, she must be at work, one of the two places she goes.
Okay, AJ, I'm going to tell you everything that is coming up, okay?
You can tell him the next episode title.
Little Dipper. Oh, it is called Little Dipper. Okay, this time I'll say it with confidence after Mary confirms.
It is called Little Dipper. I need to tell you the code. I will look that up right now.
Yes.
Sorry, Dipper, but your Wendy is in another castle.
Oh, damn it, Charlie beat me to it. I love that Seuss dreams of himself as Pac-Man eating all his friends, and he wakes up and he's like, oh, like he's disappointed that it wasn't really happening.
Oh, alas, 'twas not but a dream.
Be careful, you might spoil the end of the series.
Damn it, I think we already did.
The last episode where Seuss eats all of his friends.
And then he wakes up and the entire show was a dream.
That would make sense if the entire show just ends like that. That feels
Well, no,
like...
the show ends in that Mary and I were staring at a snow globe and imagining.
I collect snow globes. I can just go get one. We can stare into it and watch a TV show happen.
You're Tommy Westfall! You imagined all of television!
I don't understand this autism thing, Pop. Here's my son. I talk to him. I don't even know if he can hear me. 'Cause he sits there all day long in his own world, staring at that toy.
That's right. I created Breaking Bad. I've never seen it, but I made it.
Charlie, tell the people what you've got going on.
Hi, everybody. This is Mary from the year 2024, giving you and our guest Charley Marlowe a profuse apology for this episode taking as long as it did. Just thought I would update you as to what Charley's got going on now, 3 years in the future. You can subscribe to their YouTube channel, Charley the Pirate Thady. That's Theydy. That is also their TikTok. They stream on Twitch at twitch.tv/princess. That link will be in the description. That's where they have their VTuber avatar, designed after Link from the 1989 Legend of Zelda cartoon, which they have also turned into an abridged series called Abridge Me Princess, which is on YouTube. They have a Patreon, Charley Marlowe, that's Charlie with an L-E-Y, where for as little as $1 a month, you can get work-in-progress updates on a very big project they're working on right now that I can't say because AJ might be listening and it's heavy on spoilers.
Good choice, Mary, because I'm always listening.
So if you've seen all of Gravity Falls or you don't care about spoilers, you can go ahead and see what's going on there. You can also contribute to their Patreon stretch goals. If they reach $250 a month, they will release a real-time fan dub of another Gravity Falls episode that I can't say the title of, but trust me, you're going to want to see it. If they reach $500 a month, they will release a real-time fan dub for every remaining Gravity Falls episode that has not been dubbed. So if you want that to happen, go on over to their Patreon and consider subscribing. You can also subscribe to the Mystery Shack Lookback Patreon. I know they've got some cool stuff coming up there. And you can still listen to all of Mystery Shack Lookback and their Over the Garden Wall miniseries Garden Wall Recall at pipedreampodcast.com or wherever you get your podcasts. I was on a few of those as well since this was recorded. Thank you so much for listening, and thank you for being patient with us. Now back to the year 2021.
I also guested on an episode of Into the Falls. You should check that out. I believe I was on both their Fight Fighters episode and their Irrational Treasure episode.
Yeah, we had both of the Mystery Shack Lookback curators on Irrational Treasure, and we're going to have the other one back very soon. Only 2 episodes from now. We're coming to get you, Ella.
Revenge for the burlap sack we put you in.
I haven't let that go.
All right, we done? We good?
Yeah.
Winners never lose.
Winners don't lose. It has to sound like winners don't do drugs, which there was a law that all arcade games had to start with a screen that
Charley
said winners don't do drugs.
Things. I'm going to go ahead and say do as many drugs as you possibly can. Winners do drugs very often. In a lot of cases, that's how they win.
But winners don't
do
lose.
PCP.
That is a good definition of the word win. It's the antonym of lose. Now, if
winners meth all the time.
Winners do PCP and tear their faces out. Winners do bath salts.
This has been Into the Falls. You can find me at Mabel Page Pines on Twitter and Instagram. That's Mabel, P-A-G-E Pines. I'm also May Page on YouTube and Film Knife on Medium and WordPress. That's where I post my film reviews and essays, editorials, etc. You can follow the show on Twitter at The Falls Cast, all one word, and Into the Falls Podcast on YouTube. And I will hand it off to AJ.
This podcast is hosted and produced by Mary McKeon and AJ Sanchez, and our theme song and some of the music is by Kevin MacLeod. Oh, and follow me on Instagram. And I make YouTube videos sometimes. Unca AJ. Thanks so much for listening, and until next time, trust no one!
I was going to make a joke, but then I just remembered when I studied abroad in London, I always saw these ads on the tube for Mortal Kombat 11, and the slogan was MK11 and chill, finish him!
What broad did you study?
I studied all the broads. I went to a women's college, so there was a variety.